I'm Alan Colmes. We continue the conversation. We're joined by retired Army Colonel David Hackworth, Shirley Cloyes, Balkan Affairs Advisor for the Albanian American Civic League, and Frank Gaffney, Director of the Center for Security Policy. Good to have you all with us once again on Hannity and Colmes. Colonel Hackworth, what should we be doing right now? How should we be getting the message across that any harm done to these three American soldiers would be met with very severe repercussions?
Well, we should state very clearly that they should be treated under the Convention of the Geneva Convention, and that's it.
Well, what is that? So they may put them on trial tomorrow, which would contravene the Geneva Convention.
Well,
so what do we do then?
Well, if they do, then we'll have to take appropriate action. But in my case, I think, having experienced this, my battalion had probably 40 men captured by the Serbs in 46, 47, 48, and always by some clever means, as they've applied apparently in this case, and invariably they released them. So we'll see. I think they're going to make a public trial, get as much propaganda about from this, and this is what this whole trip right now is about. As the bombs fall,
but using them for propaganda is also against the Geneva Convention. That also goes against the Geneva.
Well, that's right, but they're going to try to milk as much propaganda as they can, as they did with the good senator when he was in Hanoi.
Frank Gaffney, what should we be doing right now?
Well, I think we should be focusing our war aims where they should have been from the beginning. In fact, where they should have been before we actually got into these kinds of hostilities, and that is at the removal of Slobodan Milosevic from power. It's inconceivable to me that we would be going through all of this exercise and still be talking about bringing him back to the negotiating table. The trial, which presumably will begin tomorrow, the propaganda, the possible punishment of these soldiers, oughtn't detract for a moment our attention from the very serious threat that this individual and the clique around him represent, not only to his own people, including, of course, the Kosovo Albanians, but his people of Serbian ethnic origin as well, but also to the region beyond and to our interests there.
Shirley Cloyes, you want to comment on this?
Yes, I absolutely agree with Frank Gaffney. I mean, why do we continue to speculate about Slobodan Milosevic? His patterns and practices are absolutely well established. So a trial will happen tomorrow, not surprising at all. We must pursue a policy that will finally bring this to an end. In my opinion, that means arming the KLA immediately and deploying the NATO ground troops.
And how many ground troops are you willing to send over there, Shirley?
Exactly the number that NATO said they would send, which is 28,000. No, they said they would send 28,000 ground troops if necessary.
There are 40,000 Serbian troops already dug in.
We know that.
What is 28,000?
And now let's look back at why that's the case. Why is that the case? From Rambouillet to Paris, we sat there, right? Supposedly in peace negotiations, we watched the buildup of Slobodan Milosevic bringing 40,000 troops to the Kosovo border. Not for a tea party, obviously. Bringing tanks, M84s there. And now we're paying the price of that. People are being exterminated. Now, are we going to look at the fact that Albanians are being exterminated and massively expelled? And that goes back to Frank's point, that we have to finally deal with what we've ignored all along.
Colonel, let me bring you back in here. 28,000 troops, 40,000 are already dug in. They do have the military equipment to blow these guys out of the sky. You want to make a prediction? How many dead soldiers are going to come back?
And Frank hit it right on the head. Is a little thing in the military called prior planning prevents poor performance.
Right.
And Clinton should have thought out. He said the other day, I'm amazed with these refugees. Doesn't he realize that since the beginning of war, since Sherman marched through Georgia and burned Atlanta, your old home base, that refugees are a part of war, and he should have had his forces employed, not 30,000, probably 100,000.
I agree with you. Many
all
more.
around, and that would, and not said to Milosevic, let me tell you that once we hit you with air, we're not going to use the next blow. I mean, in every case, we've telegraphed everything. We're going to do.
That's my point.
And we continue
you know what's and we continue to. But you know what's so here we're all agreeing this was ill-conceived. They're not prepared for this. He's made one bad move after another bad move, and then starting with Senator John McCain and others, now people want to take this deeper. Why empower this man to put other soldiers' lives in jeopardy when he has not made one single solitary move up till this point? Am I wrong, Colonel? That's been right.
Why are we ever going to empower? How can we possibly talk about empowering this person? I mean, how can we say that bombing this person will empower him. We're the major military superpower in the world.
All right, but
we're working with 17 other members of NATO.
Gaffney, if I can, but even, look, it's not only Colonel Hackworth, but Colin Powell and others. They all recognize you're not going to win this thing with a war campaign, and you're going to need a lot more than 28,000 troops.
How are we going to win then?
I don't think.
May I get a word in edgewise? I would just say, for the moment, don't put forces in on the ground. Look, the Kosovo situation, regrettably, is going to be rolled up here in the next day or two, long before NATO could put any number of forces in. They've got some lightly armed guys in Macedonia, but those guys aren't going to be able to deal with a fraction of what's in Kosovo on the Serb side. You've got to take the war to Slobodan Milosevic himself. I think some of that can be done by air power.
Right.
There are other means that can be brought to bear as well. I think just getting the truth to the Serb people could make a big difference.
Here's what I don't understand.
They're not getting exposed to it at all.